Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester. Um, and so are you. It is what it is. The name of my channel is Manifesting Magic with Dr. J, and of course, I am Dr. J. What I'm discussing today is um, the importance of understanding the season that you're in on your manifestation journey. Now, I'll say this. I started this video probably about an hour ago, and let me tell you, it was fresh on my mind. I was on fire. I was like, oh man, that's so important because I ran into this complication and that complication on a manifestation journey because I didn't fully understand what season I was in. I didn't even know what it looked like. And, I sat down and I was ready, right? But my phone had about 5% battery. And if you know anything about new phones, you can't use a mic while you charge it at the same time. So now we're back on track. But now I feel like the message is definitely more deliberate. So that's always a good thing. Let's start. Um, the importance of knowing the season that you're in. I always see manifestations, or even most of the things that I do in my life, or the environments that I'm a part of in my life. They have these major four seasons of them, right? Friendships, relationships, birthing children, all. So I have the part where I decide, where I am planting the seed, where I am deciding what I want. I've used all of the ideas and concepts and theories that I have collected over the time, um, before making the decision, and now I am planting that seed. And then from there, we have the part where you nurture it, right? Once that seed is planted, you begin to nurture it. You begin to say, okay, this is what it needs in order to be fully developed. This is what it needs in order to fully show up in a way that can be beneficial to those around me or those in my audience, whatever it is I'm working on. And then after the nurturing aspect is a big, big area where a lot of people have the most issues, and probably what I'm going to spend a lot of time on today, or just more time on today, is the waiting period, right? So after the nurturing, you have the waiting period, the period to where you don't necessarily see any of the outcomes you think you should be seeing, but you're done giving it everything that you have to give it, right? So it's that in between time. And then our final time that we're talking about our manifestations, or either just growing anything in our lives, is going to be that harvesting time, the time where we can actually take and benefit from the thing that we have created so long ago, where we can see the full expression of it and we can enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? So, compare it to something like birthing a child or bringing a child into the world. We already know what happens when the seed is planted, right? That is conception. That is when the seed is planted. And then we have the next part where we start to nurture that seed. That's when the egg and the sperm, they create this little fetus, and it begins to grow into our bodies. It's called something before the fetus, but I forget. I think it starts with a P. Can't remember. Anyway, my biology is lacking. That freshman biology I had to take in 1998 when I went to college. That's probably the last time I've thought about this. But anyway, so that time where you are um, incubating, the time where you are giving it the right fruits, the right vegetables, the right vitamins, where it's sucking all the life out of the woman. If anybody's been pregnant, you know what it's like to have that happen on the inside of you. And so when you get to around the period where you're like at the 6 to 7 month mark, this is the area what I call the waiting period, right? You're no longer in the intense activity of nurturing this baby, of giving it everything that's inside of you. And even in some countries around the world, in some places, it is not seen as negative if you indulge in smoking or drinking in your third trimester of having your child. Now, I don't believe that this is probably a good thing, but what I'm saying is that it shows you the significance of that time period being seen as no longer nurturing, but not quite harvesting, right? No longer nurturing, not quite harvesting, the waiting period, right? And then, of course, your harvest when you're having a child is going to be when you actually get to hold that little baby, when you can give it little kisses on its cheek. It's a real thing. you can enjoy it, right? So the importance of knowing the season that you're in means that when you are creating or you're manifesting or you are, putting in order the life that you choose, you're not in the waiting season and thinking that you're in a nurturing season and then killing your manifestation, right? So it's the same thing even when you are developing children. It's the same exact experience. There's a time when they need a lot of nurturing, and then there's a time where they are being planted. All of the important things of life, the seeds, the things that that's going to carry them as far as you've gotten, and they've worked for you in your life, and you know that they've got to take it even further because they're the next generation. But those things, you're planting those things, right? I always call it like the first 10 years. And like kind of after that, you start letting go a little bit. Then you start to see how are they playing out some of the things that have been planted within them, right? You know, um, you start to nurture a lot of it, a whole lot more, right? You start to nurture them. You begin to nurture them all through this period. And then you have the time where you get to the waiting period, is what I call when they're leaving the nest, which I am not at yet. I can't even speak on it. But from what I've seen with other people, when they are no longer seeing themselves as an extension of you, when they're seeing themselves fully as a whole person, and that's fully knowing that they're okay everywhere they go because they have themselves with them, right? Because that's what you ultimately want for your children. Um, then you have that wait, and that is your waiting period to see, like, are they gonna fly? Are they gonna latch on to something and create something great that you're going to be proud of, right? That they're going to be proud of, right? So then you can harvest it, when they start giving back in some sort of way. So in your manifestations, if you're working on something, a lot of times when we get to the waiting period, a lot of us may begin to we may over nurture an idea, meaning we are still too closely tethered to it, that we have not even let it be free into the universe to see what it returns back to us, right? So a lot of us might over nurture because we don't see anything happening. So it's like, well, I must need to do something else. Or on the other end of that spectrum, a lot of us may try to harvest way too soon, and we get frustrated, we get aggravated, and we are applying pressure when we should be waiting, right? So just think about those things when you are creating or when you're trying to manifest something that you really want to experience or something that you want to have in your life. It's like knowing what season you're in and seeing how important that has been to seeing the full bodied expression of the manifestation that you want to experience, right? And it's nothing like being in a harvesting time and not even know that you are in harvesting and you're still in planting mode, right? And a good example of that is when you have when and you're still in waiting, right? When you have received an answer, a very clear answer, when you have received something, say it's a partner, say it's a mate, say that is something that you are working on, or say it's a position, say it's a job, say it's a career for a door to open, right? And this thing has come, but because we are so caught up and hung up on the season of nurturing and waiting, or either we're hung up on waiting way too much, we feel like, oh, this can't be it. I'm in waiting right now. I'm in waiting. This can't be it. We're not even seeing clearly the manifestation has arrived. We're not even seeing clearly the breakthrough is in the palm of our hands. It's in our lap, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Knowing the season that you're in means that you will become a master manifester, of course, but also a master at creating really specific experiences in your life that also has an organic aspect to it, and that's also filled with wonderment. Because what we do know is that we can ask for things and we can be really clear with the universe that we want to experience certain things, but they don't always display to us in the way that we think that they should come into our lives, right? So you ask the universe, I want to really use my writing abilities in order to create the lifestyle that I choose, right? And what you know how to do is write novels, but the universe says, no, I'm going to have you writing speeches for the president. And you just like, wait, is this my calling to do this? But what you asked for is to use your writing as a way to sustain you and for you to share your talents with the world, right? So we don't always get a say so on how that plays out. But the important part of it is knowing what season you're in will make it a lot more clear, and it'll stop you from sabotaging your manifestations when you know exactly where you are, right? When you are in the planting phase, you won't be trying to harvest something because you'll be like, okay, this is not where I'm at right now. I know good and well that I have not planted enough in order to be harvesting anything. So I'm just going to completely take that off the table. I don't have to have frustration with harvesting because I know I am not in a harvesting phase. That lack of frustration brings on more ease, brings on fresh and positive energy, and then also creates that space for us to continue to attract where we are on our journey in the next level of what that is. And it keeps showing us what that looks like if we're open and easy and free. So then when you're in the nurturing season, you'll know that this is the time where I'm not going to see any results. This is the time where I know I need to have this thing together. I need to have this thing together. I need to have this working in my life. I need to have these things all available to me because I know that I'm in a season now where I need to have quick access to the things around me that are going to nurture this dream. I need to have the right amount of time. I need to have the right people around me. I need to be listening to the right things. I need to be having the right self-talk because I am in the phase of nurturing. And in this nurturing phase, this is the part that is the most delicate part of my process. And I need to handle it with care, with kid gloves, as they like to say, right? And then when I move away from nurturing, I'm like releasing, but I'm not exactly sure. But what makes me sure is that I am so clear about my manifestation and what I'm creating, and I'm so in tune and I'm so tapped into the divine that I can feel when it's time for me to release on this thing. And when I'm feeling and it's the right time, I know that I'm not going to put my hands back in it at any point anytime soon. So I know if I'm not seeing an immediate result from it, that's not a time for me to grab it back and then try to nurture it some more because I have to do action. This is sort of an actionless time when it comes to the actual project. And at this time, you've put everything into place. You've put all of your resources in alignment with the project. And now you're waiting to see what it's going to create, right? And you'll know when it's creating something because you'll start seeing the first signs of the harvest, right? Say it's a position that you're working on. You'll start receiving the calls for the job, right? Say it's a book. You'll start seeing the first few sales. These are the things that show you, okay, this door is creaking open. And I know that it's going to creak all the way wide open for me this time around in this thing because I am patiently going through the processes of my seasons in this manifestation, and I am not getting my seasons confused, and therefore I'm not going to sabotage my manifestations, and I'm going to reap the harvest of those things that I truly want to experience in this life, right? So I hope that was beneficial with what I wanted to share, because I think I had it earlier, but this time it felt good too. You want to know what season you're in so that you can create the best environment for your manifestation as possible. You don't want to be in a nurturing space when it's time to harvest the manifestation. You don't want to be in a waiting period when you should be in the planting season, right? So just keep that in mind, and then always pay attention to the things that have worked out in your life and reflect back and look at the seasons that you went through with those things that have worked out perfectly. For me, I used bringing a healthy child into this world as a manifestation, and I can clearly see the process of the planting, the nurturing, the waiting, and the harvesting. So think about some other things in your life that have worked out that clearly and that easily, and you can apply that to your future manifestations. And what has not been accessible to you and what does not seem like has been available to you will then become a lot more clear and will seem a lot more systematic, as opposed to you don't know where you stand and what you're creating, right? You'll have a blueprint to create the life you choose, and that's what you ultimately want to achieve, right? So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and enjoy this message on knowing what season you're in and how important that is to your manifestation. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.